Well, how about that first ever Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view? Guys, what is going on? Welcome to my live pay-per-view review for the first ever WWE, as ridiculous as it may sound, Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Just finished watching it, emanated live from Dallas, Texas, July 9th. And this was a really good show, guys. A show that I thought, on paper, had a very strong card, and I thought delivered. One of the better WWE pay-per-view events this year. And for me, since the brand split, this was my favorite Raw exclusive pay-per-view event of the year. I thought there were a number of good moments on this show, several good matches. Really only one match in particular that I did not enjoy, and I'll get into that later on in my review. But you guys know how this works. I got the live chat open right now for this live video review. Feel free to let your comments be known. Participate in the live chat. Let me know what you thought of WWE Great Balls of Fire. What were your favorite moments, matches, and what didn't you like? Always enjoy getting that dialogue feedback. That's what this is all about. So if you guys are watching, I appreciate those of you that are watching. Thank you for tuning in. So without further ado, let's talk about the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view event. For one, I actually did tune in to watch the pre-show because Neville versus Akira Tozawa was on the pre-show. And I have to say, this was an enjoyable pre-show match, a Cruiserweight Championship match. Neville defending his title against Akira Tozawa. Kind of had an abrupt finish out of nowhere, with Neville just winning by kicking Tozawa in the neck and pinning him. Although later on in the show, Tozawa did make a case for getting a rematch against Neville. We'll have to see where that goes. But I liked what these two did in the ring against one another. Tozawa really challenged Neville. Some hard-hitting kicks, back-and-forth action, what have you. Neville attempted to hit the red arrow, but Tozawa was able to get out of the way. But Neville retained, so he is still being booked as a dominant, strong, unstoppable Cruiserweight champion. And I really don't know who would be the one to take that title from him. He's really been built up very nicely to this point. Really one of the only reasons that I care about the Cruiserweights at this point is Neville in his championship reign. Because outside of that, there really isn't a whole lot going on. 205 Live, it ain't working for me. But what is working for me is Neville as Cruiserweight champion. And Robbie, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of this live chat. Leave your feedback as we cover all of the matches on the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. And let me know what you thought. But I did think this was a good match between Neville and Tozawa. I'd like to see him go a little bit longer. And just let them go all out. Because I know, this was a good match, but I know they can even have so much, just much better matches than this. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, good way to open up the pre-show portion of the pay-per-view. We opened up the main portion of the pay-per-view tonight with Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins, a feud that I really was ice cold on going into this show, and really, who could blame you? I mean, there really hasn't been much of an issue between these two. Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, I just feel like they shouldn't be feuding right now. It's not really best for either of them. If you've seen Bray Wyatt's win-loss record, he has over 424 losses. He has a lot of losses. But tonight was not one of those nights. Tonight was one of those rare nights, and you better enjoy it because it doesn't happen that often, where Bray Wyatt actually got a pay-per-view victory over Seth Rollins, and what I have to say was decent to solid opening match. I was just really shocked that Bray Wyatt got the win here. I'm not really complaining because out of the two of them, really felt like Bray Wyatt needed to get a desperate win here because he lost at Extreme Rules. He lost at WrestleMania. It's just, ever since that feud with Orton, it's just kind of been downhill here. But as Hunter put it nicely, the Eater of Pins actually got a W for a change, believe it or not. So as the referee was trying to get Rollins off of Wyatt, Wyatt actually poked Rollins in the eye, and he hit Sister Abigail for the win. So like I said, not too bad of a match here. Definitely better than their match that they had on Raw this past week, or not this past week, a couple weeks ago. They had a match on Raw. Wasn't really too enthralled with it, but I have to say this was a much better match. Had a nice flow. The crowd was into it. Like I said, good spot for this match to open up the pay-per-view portion. And hopefully it is a one-and-done match. We move Bray Wyatt onto a feud, as I keep saying, possibly against Finn Balor, and we move Seth Rollins onto something else. Maybe feuding with The Miz, perhaps a heel Dean Ambrose. We'll have to see. Yeah, really no complaints about this match from me. Next up on the show, we had Big Cass versus Enzo Amore. How you doing? This match was exactly what I thought it was. And before I get into the match itself, Big Cass, when he made it down to the ring tonight, he had new entrance music. And I want to put it up to you guys in the live chat. What did you guys think of the entrance music for Big Cass? To me, it just sounded like generic rock music and nothing more. I hope that isn't his permanent theme, because when I first heard it, I was just like, it's all right, but I've heard better, and I've heard worse, but it was just kind of there for me. I don't know. I was just hoping for something different, something unique. So hopefully they come up with something better for him than that. But the match against Enzo, I think, went exactly the way that I thought it was going to be. Cass pretty much ragdolled Enzo around, really just laid in the physical punishment on Enzo. Enzo really didn't get in too much offense. He did get a couple punches, and but other than that, when Cass picked him up for that press slam and threw him onto the outside, it was like, that was a sick-looking bump. Enzo crawled back into the ring. Cass hits the big boot for the win, and we'll see where they go with Big Cass from here. I don't know if you guys have any ideas for who you'd like to see Big Cass feud with after, taking care of business against Enzo Amore, but I really didn't see this feud. I thought there would be a slight chance that maybe they would have save the match for SummerSlam, but if that wasn't the case, then it was going to be Cass beating Enzo in relatively quick timing, and that's exactly what we got here. Didn't have a problem with the match. What I did like in the match was Cass, taunting Enzo, doing the little verbal jabs. And I like seeing that from heels, just being cocky, arrogant. So far I'm digging Cass as a heel. Hashtag Castle. And we'll see how far he can go as a heel. So far I'm digging it, like I said. And the match against Enzo, I thought served its purpose. Made Big Cass look pretty dominant and unstoppable, overcoming Enzo. Really just taking care of business against him. And Robbie mentions Cass versus Big Show. That would be interesting. I'd be interested in seeing, perhaps a match between them at SummerSlam, perhaps. We'll have to see. I like what they did with Big Show putting over Braun, so Big Show would do the honors for Big Cass. He has no problem with doing that. But maybe perhaps, due to the fact that, remember, in storyline, Cass tried to frame the Big Show as attacking Enzo, when in fact he had nothing to do with it. So if you wanted to play that up and perhaps go with the storyline, there's your impetus for doing so. But yeah, Big Cass is your winner after hitting that big boot on Enzo Amore. We had what was one of my favorite matches of the night. Might even go so far as to say my second favorite match of the night. This 30-minute Iron Man tag team match between Cesaro and Sheamus, defending their Raw Tag Team Championships against the Hardy Boys. I really liked the pace of this match. A little slow to start, but the last 10 minutes of this match were very, very fun. Immediately, with like 9 seconds into the match, Sheamus hits a big boot, hits the bro kick on Matt Hardy, and Cesaro and Sheamus go up one fall. So that really came out of nowhere. I was hoping that they'd kind of go for a quick fall early. I didn't know it would be that far. And then what really surprised me, the story of this match, was how Cesaro and Sheamus really worked together as a team to cut off the Hardy Boys at every single opportunity that it seemed. And this showed because Sheamus and Cesaro hit their finisher on Jeff Hardy to go up 2-0 against the Hardy Boys. So that was a real shocker. I thought maybe they'd tie it up, go back and forth, and then have the deciding fall. That's not what they did here. And for me, it elevated this Iron Man match, definitely made it better than the Iron Woman match between Charlotte and Sasha Banks, which I enjoyed that match. But this match, to me, told a much better story, much better psychology. Really, put the Hardy Boys in a place where they had to struggle, had to fight, had to overcome the heels in Sheamus and Cesaro, and really made Sheamus and Cesaro look like a dominant team that was working together on the same page. But eventually, the Hardy Boys were able to even kind of get their, get back into this fight when Jeff Hardy hit the twist of fate on Cesaro, and Hardy Boys, got a fall. So it was 2-1. in favor of Cesaro and Sheamus still. And what really surprised me was when Cesaro grabbed Matt Hardy, he threw him headfirst into the ring post, and Matt Hardy got counted out. So Cesaro and Sheamus took a 3-1 lead. And let me see what Hunter's saying here. People on Twitter were saying that Jeff got his shoulder up the last pinfall. He said, I didn't know if you noticed it, but I hope this doesn't continue the feud. I didn't notice it. I noticed the crowd were chanting the referee sucks, so maybe that's why he didn't notice that Jeff had his shoulders up. I didn't notice it, but maybe perhaps. But I don't remember them saying anything on commentary. But I hope this is the end of the feud here. I just feel like these teams need to go their separate ways. But the one spot of the match that I really did like was when Cesaro, so the Hardys got another fall, so they were down only by down 3-2 as Jeff Hardy was able to wrap Cesaro up for another pinfall. But when Matt Hardy hit the twist of fate off the top rope, got it on Sheamus, and we were all even up at 3-3. And there were only a couple minutes left in the match, so it was really getting down to the wire. I liked it with the clock ticking, really added to the anticipation and the suspense for which team was going to get the deciding win. And what was really, really nicely done was as Jeff Hardy tagged himself in, he had the swanton off the top rope onto Sheamus, but Sheamus wasn't the legal man. And Cesaro, who was the legal man, pinned Jeff Hardy. And with seconds going on the clock, Cesaro and Sheamus took a 4-3 win. Cesaro, who ran out of the ring, which was a smart move to burn out the clock. Jeff Hardy hit the twist of fate, but time expired. And Cesaro and Sheamus, to my surprise, I did not have them winning, retained their Raw Tag Team Championships. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but Matt Hardy, his eye was busted pretty badly. We got a lot of blood on this show tonight. I have to say tonight, between Matt Hardy, Dean Ambrose had some blood in his mouth, and then what happened between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. There was a lot of blood on this show, so it would have been fitting to call this show Bad Blood, but what do I know? So we'll see where this goes with the Hardy Boys. Perhaps a return to the broken universe? I don't know. They haven't regained those Raw Tag Team Championships. That might be the impetus for putting Matt over the edge. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, guys. But definitely my second favorite match of the night. We had Alexa Bliss defending her Raw Women's Championship versus Sasha Banks. And despite the lame count-out finish, I thought this was solid action between Alexa and Sasha, and it definitely seemed to me to be setting the stage for what was to come down the line. Potentially another match with a stipulation, perhaps Falls Count Anywhere or no DQ or even a Lumberjill match. Not sure what type of stipulation you could attach to what I hope will be the eventual rematch between these two. But they displayed some good chemistry, some nice counters. Sasha attempting to lock in the bank statement. Alexa Bliss getting to the outside. And as Sasha Banks tried to pull Alexa Bliss back into the ring, Bliss caught her with an overhand punch. And like I said, Alexa Bliss intentionally got herself counted out. So while Sasha Banks won the match, Alexa Bliss retained her Raw Women's Championship. But it was a good match. Like I said, I'd like to see these two go at it again, obviously with a better finish. And what better place to have a rematch than at SummerSlam? And Sasha Banks, as Alexa Bliss was going up onto the ring apron, she ran up, attacked her, threw her against the announcer's table, and she dove off the table and hit the double knee strike on Alexa Bliss. So this issue between Sasha and Alexa Bliss is far from over. And like I said, I feel like this is the best feud going forward for the Raw Women's Division. Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. Throw stipulation on the rematch at SummerSlam, and we're off to the races. So I look forward to seeing what goes down between them in the weeks to come. What we less than 1, 2, 3, 4. We got some time before SummerSlam. We definitely do. About a month away, a month and a half. So, but it'll be here before you know it. So yeah, like I said, good match between Sasha and Alexa, and look forward to the rematch. Lowest point of the night for me. It was just an all right match. And the problem with this match, The Miz versus Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship, is we have seen this match time after 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 time. I think you get my point. We've seen this match way too many times. And I didn't need to see this match again. Frankly, this feud could have ended at Extreme Rules. They had to keep dragging this out. So you got a dead crowd, pretty much. That's what you got for this match. I was really just hoping and praying that Dean Ambrose wouldn't win the Intercontinental Championship, because that would spare us from seeing another rematch between these two. I don't need to see these two go at it again. Thankfully, Miz, after some shenanigans from Maryse, who slid Miz's foot onto the bottom rope to avoid the pinfall, and then Bo Dallas, who attacked Ambrose from behind. Miz hits skull-crushing finale for the win, and hopefully this is the end of this never-ending feud between Dean Ambrose versus The Miz. I'd like to see The Miz move on to some fresher opponents. You do Heath, Slater, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, even Braun Strowman. I don't care. Just give him some fresh opponents. And WWE, let's turn Dean Ambrose heel, because he is beyond. He's the stalest piece of toast in the toaster. And Primetime, thanks for watching. Like I said, live chat's open. Leave your comments. We're talking about Dean Ambrose versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Definitely the weakest match on this card for me. So yeah, we'll see what's next for both Dean Ambrose and The Miz coming out of this pay-per-view. To me, I'm going to say it, this was my match of the night tonight. Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns in an ambulance match. Boy, did these two go to war and tear it apart. They beat the shit out of each other. This was one of the better ambulance matches in recent memory that I can remember. I really just liked, for everything that Roman threw at Braun, whether it was steel chair shots to the arm or just, throwing him around, or, just always hitting a drive-by on Strowman in the injured shoulder. Whatever it was, no matter what Roman threw at Braun, Strowman kept getting back up. Roman drove him through the LED boards on the stage. Strowman kept getting back up. They teetered towards the ambulance. It looked like Strowman might be the one putting in. And Roman used the backboard on. Actually, Strowman grabbed the backboard, the gurney, out of the ambulance and hit Roman with it. And these two just kept battling. They just kept fighting. And I love seeing these two beat the shit out of each other. But like I said, after Strowman was driven through the LED board by Roman Reigns, he got back up. And as Roman dragged Strowman to the ambulance, he pushed Roman off the stage, again, like he did on Raw several weeks ago. And Roman took one of those lights, those little, what do you call them? The little strobe lights that they have stationed up on the guardrails, the barricades, and he hit Strowman with it. And as Reigns was just about to spear Strowman into the ambulance, Roman Reigns literally speared himself into the ambulance. I was like, holy shit. Braun Strowman won the ambulance match. And then I couldn't believe what I'm sure none of us could believe what the hell happened next. So Reigns comes out of the ambulance. He spears Strowman. He puts Strowman in the back of an ambulance. He gets in the ambulance, drives the ambulance into the parking lot. And then get this. Roman Reigns, if you didn't see it, he took the ambulance, backed it up, and smashed it into a cab that was parked there. Into a semi, excuse me. It was unreal. It reminded me of when Shane McMahon took the limo that Kane was in and drove it through the garage. It reminded me of an Attitude Era-esque like moment, just something that you went, holy shit, I can't believe they just did that. It certainly wasn't PG because they had to get the fire trucks, firefighters in there. They had to pry open the door, from the wreckage that Roman left behind. He literally tried to kill a person. Roman Reigns. He literally tried to kill a person. And you're telling me that he's the good guy? Bullshit. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. And when Strowman got out of that ambulance, blood covering him completely, and walked away, he left on his own power. It just let me thinking, guys, this has to be a double turn. This is a double turn, right? Am I crazy? Call me crazy. But I've been watching wrestling for a while now, and I know a double turn when I see a double turn. To me, Roman was the heel. He's an asshole. He's a prick. Not only did he retire The Undertaker, but he literally just tried to murder a man. And I'm going to cheer him? Fuck no. I'm going to cheer for Strowman, the guy that literally almost got killed, got freaking driven, by a crazy man and bashed into a semi and got up and walked away. You have something with Braun Strowman. The crowd is connecting with him, and this further helps him to connect to the crowd. And it puts heat on Roman as the arrogant asshole. Go with it. Just go with it. If it's working, if the crowd is behind it, go with it and see where this goes. Because this was phenomenal. This feud between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns has been very, very, very good. And if this is a double turn, and to me it looked like a double turn, I hope it is. I hope to God it is. Because this will be the best thing for both guys. The crowd is already getting behind Strowman. Roman's getting the mixed reactions as it is. He could do it. He could thrive as the heel. He showed it in this match. He showed it after this match. To me, he was the heel. I don't know about you guys, what you thought of this, but this was just great stuff from start to finish. This was great. Definitely my favorite match of the night and everything that happened after it. And I cannot wait to see what happens tomorrow on Raw. I really can't wait to see what goes down. And then we get into the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. Good match. Went 6:25. Would have liked to have seen it gone longer. Would have liked to have seen Samoa Joe kick out of that F5. But you know what? Samoa Joe had, despite that, he still had a good showing in this match. When Heyman was introducing Lesnar, Joe went right after him. He drove him through the Spanish announcer's table. He locked in that coquina clutch. It looked like he was going to have Lesnar down. Lesnar hit him with 6 suplexes. Joe kept getting back up. And that's what I like. Despite losing, despite not being as long of a match as I thought it was going to be, Joe got that coquina clutch in, and Lesnar was lucky to have been able to hit that F5. Otherwise, if Joe kept that coquina clutch locked in, perhaps we have a different outcome here. But I really like the way that they booked Joe in this match. He had a good showing. And the way that he was looking at Lesnar afterwards left me wanting more. Left me wanting to see these two have another showdown. Oh, I don't know. At this little pay-per-view coming up next month, the biggest pay-per-view of the SummerSlam. And just the way that they left me wanting more out of this match, I hope we get more between Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe. Man, yeah, you're right. If Joe does come out tomorrow on Raw, says, Heyman, bring me Brock Lesnar, I'm not finished with his ass, that would be great. Like I said, it just feels like they're, despite Lesnar winning, feels like there's unfinished business between these two. And I hope that is the case. But this was a really good show, guys, from start to finish. I enjoyed the hell, despite as ridiculous as a name as it sounds. I enjoyed Great Balls of Fire, the pay-per-view from Dallas, Texas, on July 9th. And I finally come to the consensus. The grade that I'm giving this show, I'm giving it an A-. I enjoyed this show that much. I'm giving this show an A-. That's how much I enjoyed it. So, guys, make sure you leave your comments down below immediately following this live review being posted for what you thought of the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. What did you like? What didn't you like? And I want to say to those watching in the live chat, let me know what grade you would give this show. I always enjoy getting your feedback. So we're getting A-, B+. That's where I'm falling right there. Agree with you guys there. Mike and Hunter, good grades. And I just want to say, guys, thank you for watching. For those of you that tuned in live, Remember to please click my like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. Be sure to follow me at DanielGaza412 for all my latest tweets. I live tweet during the pay-per-views, Raw, and SmackDown. So that concludes my Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view review, guys. Very good show. Very good show. And I look forward to Raw tomorrow. So that is it, guys. Thanks for watching. And I will talk to you guys later on. So until then, have a good night.